What's up, guys? It's Matterz, and we have another episode of What If within Black Ops 3 Zombies, where we attempt to uncover the possibilities that this game actually has to offer. Now, it feels as if a lot of people sort of want to know about different playable characters, like what would happen if these characters were actually playable, and if it's even possible, and we're going to go through that in this video. There's a bunch of other stuff as well, and if you would like to leave any of your what if statements or questions within the description, or within the comment section actually, definitely do that right now before the video starts, and then we'll get going with all our different topics and all that. And again, a lot of this will be playable characters, pretty interesting here. So leave your what ifs in the comment section below, and I'll definitely be sure to check them out, maybe put them in the next video. And yeah, let's get started. Okay, so the first what if comes from actually two people. They said the same thing, but then one actually went on to say something else about Dr. GROPH. So FIFA Kicks says, what if MAXIS was a zombies character? And then Sean M says, what if we can play as Dr. MAXIS within a DLC map? And then we'll talk about Dr. GROPH in a second. But the MAXIS situation is really interesting. Now, I'm just going to put it out there, if there were any maps we would ever possibly see MAXIS as a playable character, it would be DLC 4, just because that's like the whole ending of this whole zombies universe. That's what we're going to probably see, what Richtofen and his huge grand scheme is within Black Ops 3 with the summoning key. That's where we're going to see MAXIS come back, potentially, fulfill his plan of making a better future for the children, and a ton of insane stuff that basically led up to this point here. And quite frankly, DLC 2, DLC 3, you're going to have Takeo die, and you're going to have Nikolai die. And that's almost the lineup of events that we're going to see for the rest of Black Ops 3 Zombies. So it definitely makes sense to see him in some sort of fashion within DLC 4. I would potentially say, like, as an actual Easter egg, you have to play as him for some sort of task. I wouldn't say as the actual playable characters, just because it wouldn't really make sense unless something really crazy happens with the Richtofen, he betrays the crew, or something like that. I think as of now, maybe as an Easter egg we would play as him. But there's a bunch of different stuff within the Giant. There are a lot of different radios, a lot of different weird storyline quotes that relates to Dr. MAXIS, and a lot of weird stuff. He basically contacts the crew, and it says the origins MAXIS here is he's actually located in an unknown dimension, so his being is sort of unknown right now, where he actually is and where he's controlling us. He's also within Dreisenruck as well. He's the guy that's saying, or teleporter activated, he's the guy that says, rocket launch in 3, 2, 1. That's MAXIS saying that, so he's in a different dimension, he's in a different timeline really, an unknown one, but he's still sort of there, he still has a connection with the crew, and he contacts the group, and he tells them that he will soon find them, and that they can ensure a better future for the children. So that's his sort of goal, and that obviously potentially may or not be fulfilled within DLC 4, but I'm not so sure him and Richtofen are on the same page, with Richtofen collecting and preserving the souls of the old Black Ops 1 or World at War characters within the summoning key, bringing that to DLC 4, uncovering what his plan is there, and MAXIS may have to take the soul or the life of some other character, potentially. Here's the thing, and I've talked about this before, we may not actually play as MAXIS himself, but MAXIS' soul, depending on what timeline we're actually achieving him from, like his brain from Origins, or maybe just Dr. MAXIS in general from the Black Ops 1 universe, if he's still alive, and if that whole thing is still there, because again, Dr. MAXIS, he's got some really weird stuff going on, and a lot of that stuff, again, is unknown, up in the air, so that's why I'm saying we're not so sure. But if anything, he can actually take the body of someone, just like Richtofen did within the Moon Easter egg of Samantha. He took Samantha's body, Samantha took Richtofen's body, all that crazy stuff. That same thing could happen with MAXIS, so we may not actually play as MAXIS, because, his body, at least within the Origins timeline, was actually killed within Origins due to just the zombie outbreak, and then a lot of other stuff. He could be still alive in another timeline, but again, we're not so sure. If anything, his brain, his soul would be there, but like his actual being would not. So that's sort of the MAXIS situation, but it's really interesting how that all works. Now, to touch upon Dr. GROPH, there's one really interesting fact about Dr. GROPH, and it's that him and Richtofen sort of like had this weird clash within Dreisenruck. Richtofen almost lied to Dr. GROPH by basically posing as the older Black Ops 1 and World at War Richtofen, who actually died back in the Giant. And Dr. GROPH obviously didn't know that, because Dr. GROPH continued with the plan and sort of tried to work with Richtofen. He obviously sort of got uneasy as he started to yell at Richtofen, and by the ending Easter cutscene of Dreisenruck, Dr. GROPH sort of knew what was occurring when his own base, the Griffin station within Moon, was completely blown up. He died, so with that situation, I think Dr. GROPH will not be a playable character. He completely died within, the ending of Der Eisendrache, and the whole clash between him and Richtofen almost couldn't have been avoided unless the Origins Richtofen would have died somewhere else. But other than that, that's really the case with Dr. GROPH. I don't really see him coming back unless we go back to another timeline, unless we go back in time again and see what happened with him. I doubt that's really going to happen. The next what if actually comes from Sean M, and he says, what if Dr. Monty became a main character, something like Dr. MAXIS? Now, he's saying something really interesting here. I'm going to put this into another sort of perspective, because Dr. Monty is the one character that has such a huge significance within the actual, story, not really storyline, but within the actual game. But we know almost nothing about him. And I'm gonna, deter this more towards a playable character as well, because he's just saying, okay, Dr. Monty as a character, what if he actually has some significance? What if he becomes a big deal? And apparently, a lot of stuff has been occurring with Dr. Monty. He's been in charge of a lot of the perks, a lot of the machinery, a lot of the stuff we've been doing within Black Ops Zombies in general, the whole series. He's sort of had a hand and work behind the scenes with all that stuff. Again, there's another huge fact that people sort of miss. It's like Dr. Monty, how does he get all this liquid divinium? How does he handle all of this element 115 and, give out these gumballs that provide this ability for these characters and connect directly with the characters? How does that all happen? How does he get this 115? It just doesn't make sense. He has a huge abundance of it. He's dealing and selling it. He's creating perks, creating gumballs. But why is that the case? There's obviously something wrong or something interesting that we really don't know about Dr. Monty, because you can't just get element 115. You can't just walk outside and say, oh, here's some element 115. Here you go. I'm going to sell it to these guys trying to fight zombies. It just doesn't work like that. And he must have some sort of connection, maybe between Richtofen, maybe between MAXIS, we're not so sure. But Dr. Monty as a playable character, as a main character, or just anything, any Easter egg within the next couple of maps to actually give us more information on Dr. Monty and what would happen with him would really be vital to the actual storyline, because you have to think, he has this element 115. He has this strong connection between the zombies. The element 115, it literally drives the zombies. He could have been there since the beginning, and we don't know any of that. So I think if that were to happen, we would see a lot more of an actual understanding of why this is all occurring, why the element 115 is there, and who's even dealing with it. And Dr. Monty may actually, become a good character, a bad character. There's a lot of different what-ifs with him, because again, we have almost zero background knowledge of Dr. Monty, besides the fact that he has all of this element 115, again, sort of either signifying that he's really bad, or he's really good. But we've never seen anything mentioned about him. We've never seen anything even just talked about. So we'll have to see what happens. Dr. Monty's pretty interesting there, but I think we can see a lot with the L115, maybe using it for his own evil as well, using it with the Richtofen, helping MAXIS, all that insane stuff. We'll have to see. So yeah, that's going to be it for What If, and that's really it. Leave your, what ifs in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.